Yeah, obviously, start with the fans. Another amazing crowd makes a huge difference. Tailgate lots, parking, from the time you pulled in, the atmosphere was awesome. Obviously, the whole home side was filled. So great, great, great atmosphere for our guys and for everybody involved. So very appreciative of everybody that's coming out. We need you to keep coming out. I know it gets tougher later, it gets colder, it gets midweek, but we got a huge one this Saturday. They're all huge at this point. There's 5 weeks left. We're in a stretch drive. So game, obviously, very pleased with how we played. 9-possession game for 3 quarters, and you're up 30-6. Obviously, the story's the defense. Set the tone, 4 straight 3-and-outs to start the game. They don't get a first down till the second quarter. And with that, the field position, we're getting the ball on shorter fields. They're getting the ball on longer fields. Put together one nice drive in the first quarter. Had to settle for a field goal, but we'll take the points. You're up a score. And then score our last 2 possessions of the first half. And did a really good job. We got a stop. We got on a shorter field late. There's 2:50 to go in the quarter, and you go 3-and-out. They get one more possession. We end up scoring with 25 seconds. So not only you go from 10-0 to 16-0, but you don't give them the ball back. So exactly how you want to manage the end of the first half. Then obviously they put together a really nice drive to start the third quarter to get them back in it. Eli makes a really good play on the 2-point play to keep it a 2-score game, which was key. It's not 16-8, then it's 16-6. So they got a little momentum, but it's still 2 scores. It was 2 scores at halftime. It's still 2 scores. And then us scoring back-to-back touchdowns, both 58-yard runs. So we got positive, got the ball on our 42, and we block it up really good. And Mo makes a guy miss, and we block really good on the perimeter. And then Sally gets another pick. And then we score our next play with Cade, and it's 30-6. And special teams really good. I thought Bev was fantastic, 5 inside the 20 and 7 punts. And then late we're just trying to get punts off. They're rushing not everybody, but they're pushing, trying to get home when they're down a bunch of scores. And Bev's just getting the ball out and giving our defense a chance to go play. So really good performance. OU's a good football team. Like I said, they remind me a lot of us. They play the game hard. They're smart. Their kids are tough. They play together, and I would have taken a 1-point victory, going in that game for sure to be up, to be up 30-6 going into the fourth, and really just kind of having on cruise control from there is we played good. They're a good team. We play them again this Saturday. Probably doesn't look like that. We played a really good football game and made a good team not look as good as they probably are. So very pleased. Felt like, again, timing in the passing game. We've been talking about it for weeks, and people are probably getting sick of me talking about timing. But it's, again, second half at Toledo, and then it was there against. And then again, it was, our timing was really good. We threw the ball into tight windows. We threw the ball on time. We threw the ball where we needed to throw. Receivers were getting from point A to B. Our protection was really good. So that was fantastic. And then going in the game, you knew their quarterback and the running back had accounted for about 1,000 yards rushing and averaging over 6 yards a carry between the two of them. And as they said in the presser, you can write about whatever you want, but 19 carries for 53 yards for Tyus and their quarterback, that's the game right there. That's everything they do is off those 2 kids, and their passing game's off those 2 kids. And you take 2 kids that are averaging over 6 yards a carry between the 2 of them for the season through 6 games, not through 1 or 2 weeks, and they end up under 3 yards a carry for the game, you're going to win the football game. So that really good job by our defense and our defensive staff and our guys. They knew where that quarterback was, and we were read and run pass really good and doing a really good job. So it was good, and it was a step, but we got a lot of work left. We got 2 weeks in a row we've taken really nice steps forward, and we got to keep taking steps forward to keep this thing rolling in the right direction.
Questions?
Coach, you mentioned it in your post game about keeping the pedal to the metal. Really, with the way the conference is, there's not much leeway. But is this something that because you've been there before, having to kind of run the table, is it any easier, or, got a different group of people now and you have to reinforce that pedal to the metal, keep it down, keep it
You would
going?
like to think your experience would allow you to know how hard it is and how you have to play every second of every game, but conversely, when you've had success, typically, we talked early in the year, like, you want it to be easier. You want it to, like, we're going to do this, we've done it before, so it's a pro and con. Yes, there's experience to know what it takes, but there's also, like I always say, there's a reason no one repeats, because it's hard. It's hard to keep somebody else, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, wanting to get someplace or having to get someplace, We all want to get someplace at the end of the year, but, last year we had to get there. Last year we had to get there. We had a mindset. We didn't care how we were getting there, but we had to get there. And and you got to get, and then football, it's hard because the organization's so big. You don't have to convince 5 to 8 kids. You're playing 8 kids in basketball. You got to get them. I got to convince, 80 kids to really keep the foot on the gas, and that's why it's hard. That's why there's one team every year that wins, and the rest of us don't. And it's like, so it's a 1 week journey at this point. We've got a couple. We were 1-4. Now we're 3-4. We're not too happy about 3-4 around here. So we're still not out of the hole. We'd like to get out of the hole, and we got a chance at least to get back up to ground level this week if you find a way to beat Central. It's got a good football team, and they got a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball, and they're more than capable. You look at their scores, like, more than capable every week of winning games. It's a MAC. Everybody's like, it's like every other year. Everybody seems surprised that the games are so close and teams are up and then they're down and then they come back, and then 1 week they look good and 1 week they get, the next week they get beat, and then, well, welcome to our league. That's like, we thought it'd be different this year. Apparently it's not. You play good 1 week, you got to play good again next week, because there's not that much difference between the talent in these teams, and we all know that, and so now it's, and then with the transfer portal, we all lose really high-end players. So now it even makes it, everybody loses their difference maker. So now it gets even more even, and more watered down. And so it's a 1 week battle, and teams that show up to play have a chance to win. Teams that don't show up to play, if they lose their edge for 1 week, it doesn't have to be just take your foot off the gas for 1 week, And, Eastern coach talked about after our game. He didn't say it directly, but it just like, they weren't quite as sharp, and they weren't quite as, and he talked about, like, and again, it's just that week, he wasn't like down on his, like, just a little bit, and then that's all it takes. All it takes is just a little bit, and it's not going to work in this league. So you got to come ready to play, and that's the goal. And we got Central. We got a chance to get to 3-1. We got a chance to get to 4-4, and heck, 4-4 sounds a lot better than 1-4. So let's try to get to 3-4, and 3-1's a lot better than 2-1. So. You got to keep winning. It's like being in the tournament. It's like win or go home right now. And not that the season's over if you don't win, but that's the mentality you got to have.
Coach talked a little bit last week about your defense and what they were able to do in the Eastern game. And again, you're back into that form, it seems like, of causing chaos and forcing turnovers. And you had 3 sacks again for the second straight week. Just how much of an asset is it to finally be back into kind of that chaos-causing form with your defense?
Yeah, again, difference between our defense being good, defense being great, and then sometimes can be suffocating. Early in the game they're suffocating. And when they play that way, then we're on a tilted field. And again, it makes it a lot easier just to play when they're in their dominant mode and playing at that level. Then you don't have to be a big risk taker. We'll just kind of keep plodding on. We got short fields, and we got good kickers, and we got good ST, and we'll eventually, get our points and get our lead and play from ahead, like we talked about the last 2 weeks, playing from ahead versus playing from behind, way different, So, but again, there's a big difference. They're getting the turnovers, they're getting the sacks, they're getting the TFLs, they're getting them behind the chains. They talked about it, their coach talked about right after the game, like, hey, what was the problem? We're second and third long. We're second long all day. Hard to navigate an offense that way, especially when OU's a run-first offense. You can't navigate, and he said right away, like, hey, we're behind the chains. And it's hard, everybody knows that, especially, but for them, when they're such a run-dominant team this year, even harder for them. So it makes the game a lot easier when they're playing at that level. They can play good, but they're also at times play great. And when they're playing great, it makes a huge difference.
You've talked a lot about the team being in a different form the last 2 weeks. What does the preparation look like going into this, and with this being a longer season, just how does it look like this deep into the season?
yeah, just again, our goal every year is to keep getting better. And I know that's everybody's goal, so that's not a genius goal, but like we really try and like stay focused on not the wins and the losses, but getting better. And that's somehow, I think it's a big part of somehow we overcome. Like I said, I've been here 11 years. We've been 1 or 3, and 1 and 3 or worse 10 of the 11 years. All right, it sucks. I mean, it does. It's no fun. I mean, at all. It's miserable. It's hard. You know, it's hard to get kids to keep believing when they're 1 and 3. It's hard to get kids to keep buying in when they're 1 and 3. It's hard to get kids to keep fighting when they're 1 and 3. It's just hard, you know. And talk like you guys start off bad. Yeah, we start off bad. You know, you haven't really been paying attention since you guys start off bad. Like, yeah, that's the nature of the beast. The only way to kind of get through that is like, okay, whether you're 1 and 2 and 1 and 3 or what you're like, just focus on getting better. Where's our strengths? Where's our weaknesses? What like, as opposed to focusing on the big picture. And I know I'm in a big picture business. It's like process over product. You know, I learned that in grad school, and it made sense to me. Like, worry about the process, not the product. Well, it's hard when you're in a product business. You know, you lose a couple games and they fire the OC and then they fire the head coach. Like, so we know that it's a results-oriented business, so it's even harder in our business to stay focused on the process, but that's all we ever worry about. Like, we worry about what are we good at, what are we bad at, what do we need to work on, do we need to change something, do we not? No, don't have a knee-jerk reaction, you know, like I told the team 2 weeks ago, we're not playing the game simple the way we like to play it. We like to play the game simple. So if we're not going to try to play the game simple, then we got to change who the heck we are. Now, all we did the last 2 weeks is get simpler. You know, we said, like, do we want to be this chaotic, fly by the seat of our pants? There's, like I said, and there's the way we try to win isn't the only way to win, but it's the way we try to win. Like, we all have to be bought in that this is how we're going to win games. You know, so our approach got simpler, and we focus on details and focus on techniques and focus on footwork and focus on fundamentals. That's who we are, you know, and that's why we've been successful. And when we're not playing that way, then we're better off going to the chaos theory. And, you know, if we're not playing real smart, well, then you want to be a little bit more creative with what you do. When you're like, a lot of times our defense bores people. They just freaking play. They're really smart. They know where to be. They're never out of position. That's when we're good. That's what our defense looks like. And people will tell you, like, God, they're just so sound at what they do, and they know what to do, and they're always in position, and they're not like, well, but then early in the year, we're running around a little bit like chickens with our head cut off at times and not doing the simple things well. And like, well, then you got to be different. So for us, it's just stay the course and be who you want to be and fight every day to be it. And if you don't have the results, look at why the results aren't there, but then push forward and try to work on getting better, whether you're winning or losing. Like, our goal this week is to get better than we were last week. There's still plenty of stuff when you watch that OU team, and we played really good, and we're really pleased. There's plenty of stuff that had nothing to do with OU that we didn't get done. That's on us, that we have to do better. It's going to happen. It's going to come up again. And if we have that mindset, we will keep getting better. We've been a really good team. In November, we've had a really good record, even, you know, from well past before we got to Miami, because our team just kind of keeps plugging away.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit about Thursday night with Light the Night and just also the helmets and the special ribbons and all that?
Yeah, obviously it's Cancer Awareness Month, so it's a wonderful month to raise awareness for cancer, raise money for cancer, remember, support, remember ones we've lost, support the ones that are fighting it. So we got a couple things. Obviously, we got the ribbons on our helmets, which have become a national phenomenon, which is awesome because, again, great for Miami University that Game Day does a segment on us. Like, hard to get that recognition as a university. Two, just great that it brings it out there in the public to everybody. And I'm sure other people are doing things, not necessarily ribbons on the helmet, but at their place because they got a good idea from us, and it spurs other good ideas. Two, we have the Light the Night walk, which is we're tied in. We're not tied in, but we've become joined with the Leukemia Society and lymphoma, and there's a lot of good. But they have a Light the Night walk in Cincinnati we should go to. Then COVID, we moved it up here because of COVID, and it's been good, so we just kept it up here. Everybody's welcome Thursday night, and same thing. We're raising money. All our players are raising money. All our coaches are raising money, and then we've tied in with them. And then there's kids we've adopted that are near and dear to our hearts now that have beaten beating it, and it'll be great to see them. And then everybody's welcome. And again, we walk to remember, we walk to support, and we walk to raise awareness. That's what we do. Like, it's for everything. So it's as I always say, cancer affects all of us, and it hasn't. Thank your lucky stars, it hasn't affected you yet. Not you personally, but you, somebody in your family, a friend, a relative, somebody you know, probably already has. So it's not a hard sell when it comes to like pretty important. And so it's pretty awesome evening. It's really sad evening. It's really inspiring evening. It's really it makes you feel all the emotions. But everybody's welcome Thursday night at the stadium. The lights band is supposed to be a decent night. Last year was raining. It was still an awesome night. So you won't regret if you come out and hang out. This is not a Miami football thing. Yes, Miami football is doing it. Matt Yochis organizes this whole thing and spends a lot of time, and it's a wonderful event. But everybody's welcome. People in town are welcome. People on campus are welcome. Like, if you want to walk to remember, walk to support, come out. Even if somebody's away, you can go there and send them some video of what you're doing. You're thinking about them. Which again, if you talk to anybody who's going through any type of sickness, the support is everything. The people thinking about them and being there for them means a ton to those people, and pretty awesome.
I still go ahead, Mike.
Coach, imagine, especially with what you've got for the number of injured people and everything, and have had, every week you're going to have some people out there that are going to kind of be unsung heroes because they're filling in and they're doing stuff, and a lot of times nobody will know what they've contributed in that. But I would have to think that the coaches appreciate that, especially, and especially with the seniors that you've got coming up. There's a lot of them that have contributed to the program that a lot of the public really doesn't know about, but the coaches probably appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and again, like Chuck Nank, our starting center, was out last week. We don't want to say publicized, but it's hard to lose your starting center. And Chuck's playing really well. And then Colby had a bump down in the center. Well, Colby hadn't played really in 2 weeks. He tried to play the last couple weeks, couldn't go. I mean, he gave it everything he can. He went out there, but he couldn't go. You could see when we put him out there, he couldn't go. So he hadn't played in 2 weeks. So when he comes back, he's got to bump to center. And then Greg Smith bumps in the guard, and Gavin Roars bumps in the guard, and two guys younger guys that probably most people don't even know who Gavin Roars and Greg Smith are, but they come in and do a really good job, So yeah, there's been, we talked about last week, Cole Weaver, Malcolm McCain played one snap against Eastern Michigan. It was 4th and a yard and a half, the first drive, second half, and he stuffed it. He played one snap. Just like Cole Weaver played one snap and came. So there's a lot of guys, and then ST, the list goes on and on of guys contribute on ST that are young and no one knows about. And, Eli Koppas made 2 huge plays on kickoff. It's probably the first time Bakes called Eli Koppas' name. Maybe. I think he called him some last year. Eli did some good things on ST last year. But I'm saying, like, those are all, we need every play we get from everybody. So there's a lot of guys, and the young guys are starting to figure out, like, it's not like high school and it's not like practice. So I got to get my what together, and I got to be on my business. Otherwise, I look pretty damn stupid when I go out there. And some of them have already gone through that of going out there and looking pretty dang stupid and realize, like, hey, I just can't meander around, whether it's OD or special teams. I better know what I'm doing. I better be sure what I'm doing. I better get from point A to point B in a hurry and get my job done.
Coach, last question for me. Did you get a chance to talk to Tammy?
Just text back and forth. She texts me. So, told her what I said I would say. Like, I just feel like Randy would have enjoyed the way we played the day we tied his record. Like, it was knockdown, drag out, and played physical and won the battle in the trenches and ran the ball and stopped the run and played sound in every phase. And then she responded back. She's like, yeah, he always hated Ohio, so it's even better that it was Ohio. So add that to it. That she's like, I'm sure he loved that it was the Bobcats, So again, 100-year rivalry. It's so hard to win games. Like, people want to talk about the rivalry and OU and what it means. Like, yeah, it means a lot more, but God, we just got to, like, whoever we played last Saturday, we had to win. You know what I mean? And yes, it was awesome. We beat OU, and we know how important it is to our fans, and I get that, but we're just trying, like, I got a lot of questions last week. Big game OU. I'm like, yeah, it is. OU makes it a big game, but just adds to it. It's already a big game. Like, these games are all huge, and now that fact that it's OU, and again, a lot of people, again, it's what makes a great rivalry. You come to the tailgate and you see so much red and green at the same tailgate because, again, proximity, like schools, high academic schools, right? And there's, just like we talked with UC, there's tons of family that, somebody in the family went there. Dad went here, daughter, like, I had a guy, show up and tell me, he's like, yes, I'm an OU alum, but my kids go here. I'm rooting for Miami. It's kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean? There's just so much of that, because of proximity and because of 100 years and because of like institutions. It makes sense that maybe one kid went to OU, one kid went to Miami. Like, they're similar places, so it makes it so much more. And then for at least, for the next 364 days, our side gets to, we don't do the talking, but for the fans who like to do that and families, that like to do that, they get their bragging rights for 364 days, which makes it pretty cool.
The receivers have, been picking it up as far as getting the big plays and stuff over the last couple of weeks. And Brett's been looking pretty good. How do you feel about the development of the connection there and what they've been able to produce?
Right. I think it just took a couple games, for Brett to get back into the flow of things and getting that connection with the receiver within the games. We got a lot of power on the outsides. And Brett's just a great quarterback, and he's been able to get us the ball, and the extra reps we've been taking in practice has really just translated towards the game, I'd say.
Last week there were 3 different receiving touchdowns by 3 different receivers. What does that do to the room to know that everyone can get the ball anytime?
I mean, it really just shows the amount of talent we have in the receiver room, and it just shows that Brett trusts all of us to give us the ball throughout the field, and we love that. We'd rather have that than have just one person get the ball all the time because it's like a brotherhood inside that room, and we just want everyone to be able to get the ball and score touchdowns like we did last weekend.
Had one catch in the Eastern game, which was one of the better offensive performances in the season. So how did it feel to then get involved really early? You made an early catch on one of the early drives and then obviously have a few more throughout the game.
Right. Obviously, I love getting the ball and whatnot, but in Eastern, Reggie had a great game. We just have so much talent on the outsides that if one guy doesn't get the ball the entire game, we have so much other people to get the ball. But, it was great getting the ball early versus Ohio. I just think when I get the ball in my hands, I can help the team. So that was great to get in the hands early.
Punt returning, and it also shows in your receiving. If you're nothing else, you're one brave individual to go get the ball that you go get sometimes. Talk to me about that philosophy because a lot of guys would say, "Nah, just let it go," but you're not one of those guys.
I would say what I'm thinking about is I just wanted the best field position as we can on offense, and I'm thinking if I can get 3 yards, that's a run play that we don't have to run on offense. So all I'm thinking about is just getting as much yards as we can, or I can, on punt return so we don't have to drive as far on offense. And
Coach ever give you a hard time about, like Saturday, one bounce, and you pick it up and you're gone. And then again, you were also a half step away from breaking one as well.
He doesn't really give me a hard time on anything. I think he trusts me back there in my judgment. And he knows that I'm not going to make a dumb decision that's going to hurt our offense. So I think he's on the same page with me and just getting the best field position as we can.
Cade, this weekend, one of the coolest traditions I think we have here is the cancer awareness game with the ribbons on the helmet. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what color did you pick and why?
Yeah, so I picked the pink ribbon for breast cancer. Last year, my mom was diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer, so they caught it before it got really bad, and she was able to have the surgeries and everything. So she's all good now, but I just wanted to wear the pink to honor her for my play in the field and everything she's done for me.
Stage 0. So was she just doing normal checkups? What was that? How did
I
she
think
get
she was
so
just
early?
doing a normal checkup, and they found something that could turn into something, and they were able to find it and get it out before it turned anything bad. So yeah, we're beyond lucky for that.
Big game this week. Team's on, winning 3 of the last 4, 2 big wins in the past week. How do you keep the team? When you were 1-4, it'd be easy to get down, and now making sure the team isn't too high.
Yeah, I would say we're treating every week as a playoff game, honestly, because this MAC schedule, anyone can beat anyone this year, and every game matters in MAC play. Just because if you look at the standings, everyone's within fighting for the number 1 spot. So we're really treating every week as a playoff game, and just trying to go 1-0 every week.
Coach made a point in the postgame last week that they really don't tend to play for numbers. So with Miami, you're not going to see, well, they threw for, 300 and some odd yards or whatever, and they're more for playing for the situation and everything. Does that, kind of carry over with the receivers and that, where you're not going to have the big numbers, but you're going to have some, like in the last couple games, the results, the TDs, and, point to the scoreboard?
Right. I mean, all we really care about is having more points than the other team at the end of the game. I feel like us as receivers, me especially, I'm not really focused on my stats every game. I'm just focused on making sure I do my assignment the next play and winning that next play. And the stats will add up at the end. But all we care about is scoring more points than the other team at the end of the day.